Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're talking about the Minnesota Vikings and their offseason plan I have laid out for them. So, if you do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification button to be notified when I post next. Let's get into it over here. So, Minnesota Vikings, they had a pretty solid season. Obviously, injuries derailed their season, but they had a lot of guys that were, depth pieces really excel, rookies excel. Jordan Addison's one example. But this kind of like us correcting the ship and going back into the way of them making the playoffs, winning a playoff game. The stuff that they need to do to actually get back to the track and try and win a Super Bowl. So, first off, we have the re-signings. They have $25 million going into re-signings, but I am going to try and re-sign Kirk Cousins. Before injury, he was having the best year of his career, 2,300 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. He's been saying he's willing to take a hometown deal to stay with the Minnesota Vikings because he's kind of made the money. He's made his money. He was playing the best ball of his career in 2023 before getting injured, before Justin Jefferson got hurt. They were off to an amazing start. He's coming off a ruptured Achilles, which is obviously going to be a tough break. But he has a lot of suitors. Teams like Atlanta, teams like can't think of any teams off the top of my head all of a sudden need a quarterback. But I know the Atlanta Falcons have been heavily rumored to go for Kirk Cousins. But I think there'll be a lot of suitors on outside of that. But Minnesota Vikings are going to get the job done. So the reason I want to re-sign Kirk Cousins is he's already going to be on the books due to void years and all that are, were attached to his contract. He's on the books already for the season. So when we re-sign him, we only raise his cap hit $3 million, but to actually play for the team instead of being dead cap. So we actually get, Kirk Cousins playing. We get a player for $3 million who will actually play and add something to the team rather than just taking up that cap space. So I gave him a 2-year, $61.5 million deal. Guarantee all of it. That's what we always do with Kirk Cousins. He signs only guaranteed contract. I believe they've been saying that he has, 7 years in a row of guaranteed contracts. So I decided to keep that going, give him 9 years in a row. There'll be an NFL record amount of guaranteed money in a row. 2 years in a row, fully guaranteed. I think Kirk Cousins is still going to have the skill set to be a top 10-ish quarterback. Maybe more like 12 or 13 right now. But I do want to see Kirk Cousins come back to Minnesota. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that team is still trying to win. I think the pieces are there for him to win. And this might be able to get Justin Jefferson to sign the extension. Then we have Dalton Reisner. He had a 57 PFF grade, a 67 pass blocking, 50 run blocking this past season, 3 penalties, and 0 sacks. He joined the team after the first couple of games. I believe it was at the end of September. He signed with the team. Then he started at the beginning of October. So he missed at least the first 3 games of the season and still came in and played really solid at left guard. He can hold left guard down for a couple of years. This offensive line needs consistency. The fact that they had to get Dalton Reisner off the streets, and he even said he regrets not signing with training camp with the Vikings. He said he turned him down, wanted to wait till after the training camp. Then they signed him a couple weeks into the season. He immediately regretted it. So I think he wants to be in Minnesota. I think Minnesota has a need for Dalton Reisner. So let's just get the job done. 2 years, $16 million deal, $11.5 million guaranteed. That is 71% guaranteed. A little more expensive on the guaranteed money, but I think for offensive line play, it's worth every dollar. Then DJ Wanham at pass rusher. He had 36 tackles, 9 sacks, and 32 stops this past season. He's been a solid outside linebacker for them. He's not the worst player in the world. I just don't think he's really the main pass rusher they need to worry about. But you do need to get him locked up. He's only 26 years old, and he's proved to be a solid running mate next to Daniel Hunter. He's a really good floor to work off of because we know we can get about 30 sacks. 30 tackles, 5 to 9 sacks, 25 to 30 stops. He's averaged the last 2 years. Brian Flores has done wonders for DJ Wanham. Let's continue that development. So we're gonna give him a 3-year, $35.5 million deal, $18 million guaranteed. That is only 50% of it guaranteed. Because again, the first 2 years of his career, not good. He's been pretty okay for the last year or two, though. So I want to see what he can develop into. And if you want to draft someone and develop them, you have DJ Wanham as that base level. Then we know what he is. Let's let the other guy develop. We know what DJ we can get out of him next to Daniel Hunter. Then the next re-sign I'm going to be doing is Jordan Hicks. He had 75 tackles, an interception, a forced fumble, a sack, and 33 stops this past season. All around a solid player for the defense. As I said, yet again, another quality season from Hicks. He's one of those guys that just can't stay on a team because you don't want to overpay him, but he will always be a solid, starting linebacker for you. He finally gets a multi-year deal, which is obviously only a 2-year deal, but still a multi-year deal. It's on the cheaper side. Him and Ivan Pace played great. Ivan Pace, the rookie, I believe a 5th-round rookie, played really good next to each other. I'm excited to see. I think you need some more continuity all around the team. I think having Jordan Hicks and Ivan Pace play together for the next few years will be really monumental for Pace's development. So I gave him a 2-year, $20.5 million deal, 11 and a quarter guaranteed, 54% of it guaranteed. But you guarantee the $9.25 million a year. So this upcoming year, fully guaranteed. Then if he continues to play really good, maybe you want to up the guarantees in next year. But this at least gets him the sign on the dotted line, so you get some continuity at linebacker. So after all those re-signings, we have $53,000 to work with. So the first cut or trade I'm going to work out is Harrison Smith. So obviously, what's going on? There we go. 64 tackles, 3 forced fumbles, 3 sacks, and 30 stops. Obviously, Harrison Smith is the longest tenured Viking, and he's a fan favorite. So I think it will be hard for you to do anything with him. He's on the decline of his career. He's 35 years old. Cam Bynum is emerging as a really good safety option. Lewis Cine has shown some flashes, former 1st-round pick. He saved $15 million cutting him, but I could see them keeping him on a cheaper deal. So maybe instead of cutting him, they rework his deal, lower his cap hits, and give him a long-term extension until, he retires. I think it's very hard for them as a team to say, you know what, he's worth us not cutting him for $15 million. I don't think you can make that statement, but what I'm doing is I'd rather work on a new contract, but I just don't think that's what he would want. He would want to keep his money, and so we're going to cut him and let him go to another team. Again, I can see them keeping him, though. Then the restructure of Brian O'Neill, their starting right tackle, has been really solid the last couple of years. I'm going to restructure him, save $9 million, get our cap number back up to $25 million. And the first signing I'm doing is getting a corner opposite of Byron Murphy. 46 tackles and 15 stops from Chidobe Awuzie this past year. He had his worst year so far with Cincinnati. He won the year that they went to the Super Bowl. Chidobe Awuzie was one of the best corners in the league. He's really kind of quieted down since that season, but when at best is a number 1 cornerback for a championship contending team. You can get him for a solid price. Got him for 2 years, $25.5 million, 11 and 3/4 guaranteed, 52% guaranteed basically. So I could see this as basically a 1-year deal, and then you cut him next year. But if he can bounce back into that form that he had during the Super Bowl year, I would want to rework this contract and give him an extension even more. But at least get him in the door at that 2-year, $22.5 million offer that he signs. Then I want to sign a rotational D tackle in Tim Settle. 9 tackles, 1 sack, a 64 pass rushing grade from PFF. He's a specialist, obviously, a pass rushing D tackle. He's a rotation guy, not a full-time starter. So obviously, I try to do starters only when I do these videos. But I think Tim Settle is such a high-end rotation D tackle. He's worth talking about when I do want to sign him. You can come in cheap and as a bargain deal. Give him 1 year, $5.5 million. I believe he's only making 2.5 or 3 million this year. So he does get a pay raise to come over to the Vikings. I think they need help at D tackle. They need help at pass rushing in general. The pass sets, I think him, Daniil Hunter, DJ Wanham, that's a really solid pass rushing group that obviously Tim Settle can cause from the inside. You only get him for $5.5 million. Then we're going to enter the draft with $7.6 million in a lot of draft picks. So at number 11, I'm giving Cooper DeJean. I think Cooper, you need an elite outside corner next to Byron Murphy, and if you sign Chidobe Awuzie, you need a great outside corner in Cooper DeJean. I would have loved the draft O-line, but the draft fell in a certain way where I didn't feel comfortable reaching for the guys that were available, and the guys that I would have wanted had already gone. So in this mock draft, I decided to go with corner and get that solidified. Obviously, people keep saying, oh, he's going to move to safety. I don't think he's moving to safety. I think he's one of the best corners in this draft, especially on the outside, and I could see him developing as an outside corner. And him, Byron Murphy, Chidobe Awuzie, that's a great trio of corners. Then in the second round at 42, I grabbed Chop Robinson from Penn State. Chop is a first-round pick. I don't see him slipping out of the first round, but if for some reason he does fall, I think one of the first teams that would take him is the Minnesota Vikings. They need that premier pass rusher who has a lot of upside still. I think Brian Flores would be a great defensive coordinator to be the one to develop Chop Robinson as well. Then at 108, we got Javon Baker from UCF. Javon Baker, he's an elite deep threat option alongside Jefferson and Addison. Double down on pass-heavy offense. Obviously, you have Alexander Madison. So you got your running back who can start. Then you just got to develop your wide receiver core a little bit more. You got, Justin Jefferson. You got Jordan Addison. Grab Javon Baker to be that true deep threat option. He had an average of 22 yards per reception. He had 15 deep catches, 574 deep yards. That is third and eighth in college football, respectfully. And he had 52 receptions for 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns this past year. True deep threat option from UCF. And he has a great size as well to go along with that speed. I could really see them doing good jobs with Javon Baker's development. Because we saw what Jordan Addison became in year 1. Imagine a true deep threat for Kirk Cousins to toss that thing as far as he can. Then at 130, I grabbed Nazir Stackhouse from Georgia. He's a run-stuffing D tackle to pair along Tim Settle as a pass-rushing D tackle. Obviously, that's not what you want. Like, you don't want to this rotation D tackle. We're gonna draft a rotation D tackle that does another job. I'd say you can have both guys on the field and be comfortable that they both can complement each other really well. Solid piece to build around. He's 6'3", 320, has upside to develop as a pass rusher. But I think with his frame and his development so far, he is the run stuffing D tackle that you want. That, again, yes, you don't want to pair them exclusively with each other, but the moves of Tim Settle and Nazir Stackhouse to this D tackle room gives you some flexibility. Then Bo Limmer, you guys know all about Bo Limmer. I drafted him in a lot of my stuff. Experience at right guard, center, and left guard. Great run blocker, okay pass blocker. 6'5", 307. In run blocking, when you have a 6'5", 300-pound man running at you, it's a little scary. So I think Bo Limmer, versatility on the inside, can start at center if you need him to. Very, very good to have on your team. Then at tackle, Isaiah Adams out of Illinois. He has experience all over the O-line. Almost, I believe it's 4 out of 5 the positions he has over 300 snaps in college at. That's pretty good for a 5th round pick out of Illinois. Again, great run blocker, can develop as a pass blocker, but at least as that 6th offensive lineman in run sets on the goal line, Isaiah Adams can be really useful for you. Then Dominic Lovett from Georgia at 166. He caught 75% of the passes thrown to him in his college career. That's really good. More of a screen guy that's elusive. He was a top 45 screen target to reception ratio in college football. So most of his snaps and targets came at the slot. That's okay. Screen. Sorry. Let me rephrase that. Most of his targets came as a screen option, not as a slot option. So he's more of a gadget type of player. Offenses like the 49ers and the Kansas City Chiefs could really like a Dominic Lovett. Those are teams that like to throw screens and have them become a yak machine. And Dominic Lovett can add that versatility to the Vikings offense. You have a deep threat in Javon Baker. You have a wide receiver 1 and 2 in Jefferson and Addison. Then you add Dominic Lovett as that screen threat who can be shifty and gadgety. And I think that can be another layer to this offense you can add. Then I grabbed Tyrone Hopper out of Missouri. Hopper, he's too small and light to play linebacker. Maybe you can make him a safety linebacker mix. Maybe he plays some snaps at strong safety. Then at other snaps, he comes in at linebacker. But I think you definitely want to use him as a multi-tool facets in your defensive scheme. Had a down year, but I think he can be if he's used right, he can be good. His last year was really good, honestly. Probably would have made him a 4th round pick. But he's had a down year. He's a little small, a little lightweight. But I do think that there's upside to having Tyrone Hopper as a dual-faceted defensive piece. Then at 230, it's a 7th round. Take a shot at quarterback. Grab Sam Hartman. He had a ton of experience at a big collegiate program that's nationally televised. It's one of the biggest schools in America. He's both won and lost big games in his career. It's a guy that you can sit and develop. You have Jerron Hall from last year. You bring in Sam Hartman. You have Kirk Cousins, and you see what shakes. You see who can stay on this roster. Is Sam or Jerron Hall the backup quarterback next year? You obviously have Kirk Cousins. I didn't want to invest heavy in a quarterback in this draft. Again, maybe next year, maybe the year after. I think if you have Kirk Cousins, you can get Justin Jefferson to sign an extension, and that is the biggest worry for me right now, is that you're obviously going to pick up his 5th-year deal, but does he sign the long-term extension that you want him to sign? But yeah, that's my mock draft, and that is my rebuild of the Minnesota Vikings. If you guys did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Obviously, I'm doing it in order of the draft, so I believe this is pick number 12 or 11. This is pick 11. So getting close to halfway done. The entire month of February, I'm posting the offseason plans. They have them done by the beginning of the league year. They don't have my top free agents, guys you don't want to sign, those type of videos coming out the week of the league year. But if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.